All right, recording started. Welcome to another Charles and Chat. We're gonna look at the market objectively and see if we can find any sort of trades for or any sort of bias or analysis for the upcoming days. My personal opinion, the market is poised for more upside. I know there's a lot of talk about a rollover, but I have a weekly setup, a daily setup, and I cannot ignore. For this to happen, we will have to have like a very bullish session tomorrow because OPEX is on Friday, and I highly doubt that we get some kind of trend day, very bullish move on Friday. So this setup particularly has to be um, for tomorrow, and we'll see. And we're actually gonna look at this on the cash market perspective, a little bit outside the futures, because we have a different picture on both, right? We have a little bit of a different picture on both. I do think that the markets are holding the right levels, and we'll see what it is. We'll see what it is. So right now, if you notice, I use a lot of the times the daily 20, which is the red squiggly line right here, the daily 20 MA, and it gives me a lot of the sense of what the uptrend is on the daily. I know that the uptrend on the weekly is a little bit extended, that's for sure. But on the daily, we're still on the same realms, right? Around the daily 20 MA, not overextended. See what we can see for the upside. I understand that as of this moment, this is a relatively equal high. It's a lower high by what, like 3 points, maybe at most. No, like not even like 2 points, I believe. So I guess you can call it relatively equal highs, and that calls for a double top. So it does look like we have a double top. We have our low. We have our low set in before the after this breakout. So to me, it seems like, oh no, we have this low as well. So we do have a series of a little lower low from this. And then we have a double top. Now, I think the market is trying to place a higher low. So that will be dictated by the next daily candle. So if the next daily candle does go up to the upside, takes out this high or so, you're going to look back and say, this is a higher low. So when you're gonna start looking at this as a, what do you call this, like an inverse head and shoulders, I guess. I don't use shapes and forms, but that's what your outlook will be. Your shoulders being right here and your head being right here. So that will be the scenario that we have. The one of the reasonings that I think the market is holding key levels is because if you just gotta anchor your fibs from the last run up, right, from the lows of this candle into the highs of this candle right here, and you'll see that the bottom of this candle is nonetheless by the 6.5% retracement. Not to the penny. A lot of times it's to the penny, but just by a slightly a little bit it poke. But it's still a 6.5% retracement, and in fact we close the market around the 50% retracement mark right here. So I think if the market, this is like the last point, the last call for alcohol, right? Like this covers this fair value gap right here, this drop. So that has been filled. And now we are looking a 6.5% retracement. So if the market was to leave this low, there's a very high chance that we're gonna visit this low again. That's how fibs kind of work, right? This is the last call for bulls, pick it up right here and start going up for a higher low. And then I'll be looking at a 10% extension poke off of this, like 48.52 or so. And if it does not, if it starts going to the downside, then we have if we have a daily candle close below this, then I'll start looking for this price right here. The idea of the daily 20 is that it serves as a pivot point a lot of the times, but not every time. If you notice right here, we danced around it, didn't give us a niche, right? There was no exact bounce or exact rejection. Can it still happen over here? Yes. So I'm paying big attention for tomorrow pre-market, that the daily candle, the pre-market highs are not the daily 20 MA, because if it is, then I'm gonna start my bias a little more bearish than bullish, right? I'm gonna start looking for both setups, but more bearish than bullish, because this high being right here will be like a perfect tag of the daily 20, and then a rollover, right? So there's that. I think the combination that this did this, and the NQs and the Qs is want to give you a perspective, right? Because usually, even intraday trades, whenever you are hitting a 6.5 or 6.1A on ES and then a 50% on NQ or vice versa, you got yourself a trade because there's a possible area right there. So going back to NQ and user fibs, the same area, the same way. We're gonna see that the lows of today, the session today is a 50% retracement. We do have a fair value gap to fill at the 6.5. So we have a fair value gap right here. So there's a possibility that we drop to fill it, but as of this moment, this market is staying above the daily 20. It has a 50% bounce. So I think this is what you call a bull flag. Then we can have a green candle to the upside. So that's why I'm calling for a bullish bias. You know, it's bullish until proven otherwise. Yeah. And if you look at the cash market on SPX or SPY, if you wish, I don't know what you guys want to use. Let's use SPY. I guess it's only cash market, does not include overnight. So you're gonna use the same perspective, same idea, but on this one we do have a hold of the daily 20 with a close above it, and we have a possible 2 down 2 up strat reversal. So for people that follow the strat, you basically have 2 candles that are coming down, and if we get a candle tomorrow that breaks the prior candle high, you're most likely gonna head towards this other high right here, and maybe even more, right? So that's gonna be the general idea. We held the daily 20. Let's see if it tomorrow uses it as support. Let's see if it breaks this high, and then start aiming from there, right? This is a doji candle, so having a doji candle break to the downside, giving an indication decision that the way is down, and then does reversing later, it makes up for an even greater push than what it made to the downside. So I think the risk, or I mean the edge, is to the upside at that point. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but it's good, I mean, to have a bias, I guess. So the Qs kind of have the same idea. We have a nice possible 2 down 2 up. You put an alert about prior day's highs, and then boom, daily 20 MA hold, 50% retracement hold as well. You know, so everything's looking good. I think that's a very bullish push up today, and it happened. A lot of it happened at the close, right? This failure to go down, short covering. This was very aggressive. This first 2 candles, this candle was very aggressive, and then this candle was very aggressive, and then the next thing you know, all the shorts will start covering right there. So that's the bias. That's the bias right there. Agreed, disagree with me, I don't know, but yeah, I hope it helps a perspective, and that's why we're calling for SPY calls over here in the room. I don't know if I'm gonna be right. There's some it appears that a lot of people are buying puts, but what I see is, like, we got the 475s. What I see is that if 475 comes in, I think it's a pretty good chance that this is gonna be in the money by 2 to 3 points, right? 476 and 477. 477 being a break of this candle highs. So something like this, right? So, you know, a candle like this, but over here. But we'll see. I mean, I'm looking too much into the future, and I'll be reactionary depending on the opening price on pre-market. Because if we open right here tomorrow, then I'll be thinking that the market, instead of holding the 50, is most likely gonna drop. I'm sorry, this is SPY. I was talking about this on NQ. So if we open below this, most likely chances that we're gonna go back down to this area, or back down to this area as well. But has to do a lot of how we open, what the pre-market is, what do Europeans do. All right. That's about it, I think. that's about it. I don't have setups for the moment. I'm eyeing Roku. Maybe Roku it's a good play. You guys that like swings on this major fib that we have right here. This low of the candle today was a 50% retracement of this major move. We have a possible 2 down, 2 up, and if it does break the prior candle highs with a nice bullish hammer, a nice close at the highs, prior candle highs, I think it can start heading upward. And since it's a weekly fib, you know, a very major fib, you know, very large time frame fib. I think that if you were to play upside, thinking that this 50% is gonna hold, your play should be, you know, a couple of months out or so because the it's a weekly chart, right? This is not a 5 minute favorite retracement. You know, you will be on this trade for quite a few weeks. You know, 2 to 3, 4 weeks or so. But I think I like this chart. I like it, like it. That's what I got for you guys. I'm gonna stop the recording right here.